Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the Cryptoverse. Figured we'd go live here. Bitcoin is testing the low. So the previous low is 15,563. We're at 15,602. So we are getting pretty close to putting in a new low. So I just wanted to follow this to see kind of what happens here. If we zoom out, let's go to a 15-minute time frame. So you can kind of see right there is where the previous low is. So we are getting, in fact, relatively close to testing it. Patience has paid off in this bear market, that's for sure. And yeah, I need to post this. All right, let's post it. All right, so right now Bitcoin's coming in at around 15 and a half, just above 15 and a half. You know, if you follow this channel, you'll know there's been plenty of indicators that have remained somewhat on the conservative side. Here we are, right? I mean, Bitcoin's continuing to sort of test these levels to say, you know, hold on a second. Some of these indicators might be onto something, right? Like there's some validity to these indicators, and perhaps being conservative will be the correct approach, as we have discussed before. Now, right now, Bitcoin is down about 3 to 4% on the day. The dollar is back up a little bit, back up to almost 108. Interestingly, traditional markets are holding up somewhat okay, right? And it's interesting because every time people start talking about crypto decoupling from stocks, it tends to decouple, but not in the way you want, right? Like crypto just kicks the bucket, right? The floor falls out. And then stocks kind of do their own thing, and then crypto just gets completely wrecked and it sort of goes down to a new level. But right now, I mean, it's currently at 15,679. The lowest it has gone today is 15,589, and the lowest it has gone this bear market is 15,5. Where was it? So the lowest it's gone is 15,589. That was back over here. And then today, so far, it hit about 15,590 or so. So not too far off the prior low. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what Bitcoin wants to do right here. The Ethereum has now below 1,100. So I think the interesting thing with Ethereum is that it has not yet put in a new low. And I know a lot of people say, well, isn't that a good thing? Listen, I've said this before. Ethereum tends to hold up well until the very end, right? And then it can move quickly. So yes, I mean, it hasn't put in a new low yet, but it certainly doesn't mean it won't. So be a little bit flexible with your understanding of what has to happen or what you think should happen because of what has happened. But you could also look at prior cycles and see that, sometimes things hold up well for a while until they don't, right? And then they can drop somewhat quickly. I mean, again, this is just as another systematic rejection off the 200-day. We've talked all year about how you really should follow the 200-day SMA in these bear markets, and how, oftentimes Ethereum can just get rejected by the 200-day. Everyone gets super excited again and says it's going to break out and give massive gains. And, the 200-day sort of just hammers us back down to earth and says, hold on a second, where do you think you're going? It's still a bear market. So it's something to consider, right? I mean, and it's also, of course, been rejected by the bear market resistance band, if you want to call it that, 4 times now, this bear market. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 4 clear rejections off of the bull market support band for Ethereum during this bear market. And I mean, at some point we'll test it again, and eventually we'll muster up the courage to break through. But so far, I think just sort of being pessimistic in 2022 has been an appropriate path to take, an appropriate approach to sort of go with. And I mean, we can talk about a lot of other things, but I mean, this is, obviously Bitcoin and Ethereum are the two main ones that are worth spending the most amount of time on, I think, in terms of understanding where this market is, trying to make heads or tails of what's likely going to happen. Someone says today's low price was, oh yeah, so 15,589. So essentially Bitcoin has now hit the same level that it hit back on November 10th. So about 11 days ago, Bitcoin has now gone back to that same level. So I guess this is the spot to watch, right? If it actually gets a bounce off of this level or not, or if we just sort of continue to bleed further down. I mean, right now we're less than $100 away from putting in a new low. I mean, if Bitcoin were at 15,574, then it would in fact be a new low. So, I mean, just less than $100 away. The dollar, I mean, again, the dollar's up today. Tesla's getting wrecked, but I mean, why should today be any different than any other day? I mean, again, even equities are in bear markets, right? I mean, the idiosyncratic risk of a lot of these assets, these risk assets just are not worth it in bear markets, and you just have to give them time to bleed. And you come in when afterwards and scoop up the wreckage, but in these bear markets, they can just act as falling knives. And remember, time-based capitulation is hard to deal with. A lot of people just want to throw their money in and just say to hell with it. It's a great way to get, to lose all your money in the altcoin market in 2022 is just to throw all your money in every time you think we hit a bottom. So, anyways, I mean, I hope people have been taking cold showers this year. I think they've been working out. Someone says we still have 3,000 viewers, so it's not the bottom yet. There's probably some validity to that statement. If market's bottom on apathy, not when everyone's watching. Yeah, I see. I see it says the low right here, 15,589. That was the same. That's basically the same low that we put in just a couple or 10 days ago or so. Maybe it was slightly lower. Oh no. 15. So no. So the low here on November 9th is 15,563. 15,563. So we haven't technically gone lower yet. Bottom was 15,563 on November 9th. Sorry, on November 9th, the low is 15,563. So we're currently, just about $80 above that right now. No, I still have a cold. Thanks for asking. Yeah, Solana has seen better days, that's for sure. I mean, I've said before, a lot of these altcoins bleed a lot more than you think they can in bear markets. I mean, even from this recent level where a lot of people got all excited again, Solana's Bitcoin valuation is down another 60%. And one of those things I've said many times is that just because, actually, let's put that on hold. We're close to a new low here, so let's just keep that in mind. I mean, it's more important to follow Bitcoin and talk about Solana, right? 15,599, 15,595, 93, 92. Again, the low. It's kind of interesting because I guess it depends on the time frame, but that's still pretty close to putting in a new low. Thanks for getting the membership, Orlando. Yeah, so we did. Look, I've said before, the end of the Cryptoverse website it's not for everyone, but I do want to tell you we did at least launch tiers recently. So if you haven't signed up before because of whatever reasons, just know there are tiers. So there are various options right now, including a free one where you at least get access to a weekly newsletter and a chart or something. So check it out, intothecryptoverse.com. Links in the description below or the chat. And those are the Black Friday sale prices. So we'll run those to the end of the month. But anyways, I have followed. I mean, I know the dominance of Bitcoin still is still really low. And I mean, you could look at it and say, well, yeah, it includes stable coins, so it doesn't have to go up as much. On the other hand, it could also just mean that altcoins still have a way to go down against Bitcoin. I mean, that's the other thing that it could mean, is that the altcoin reckoning just simply isn't over. I mean, is another way to interpret it. And remember this, when you include stablecoins, when you exclude stablecoins, it's been putting in higher lows. So it's kind of funny how it just keeps putting in higher lows, but everyone acts like it's only ever going down. But so far, even since May of 2021, you can see the Bitcoin dominance used to be 42% when you exclude stablecoins. Now it's around 47%. And it's just been putting in higher lows for basically the last year and a half. I still contend that is the path of least resistance. One way for the dominance to go up is if Bitcoin continues to sort of just chop around for a while. I mean, imagine if Bitcoin just got somewhat complacent, then you could see that, you easily could start to see that make moves. I think the issue is as we've seen, when Bitcoin puts in new lows, then the dominance then at least temporarily goes back down, and then the altcoins sort of take a while to bleed after it. At least that's what we've sort of seen so far this year. But yeah, I mean, right now Bitcoin is at least testing those lows from about 10 or 11 days ago. So far, it has not broken down below it. What's interesting, though, is how Bitcoin has not yet put in a new low, but a lot of other altcoins have. For instance, if you were to go take a look at, let's say like ADA has put in a new low, right? I mean, ADA USD is pushing lower compared to where it was back on November 10th. DOT is lower than where it was on November 10th. Avalanche is lower than where it was on November 10th. So, while Bitcoin is sort of at this point, while Bitcoin is still just simply retesting the low, which again, I mean, it easily could take it out at some point, but there is a little, there is a level of weakness, right? There's obvious weakness in the altcoin market when you see that a lot of these alt USD pairs are putting in new lows already, despite the fact that Bitcoin has not. That shows the relative weakness of the altcoin Bitcoin valuations, and it's why the dominance has moved up from 39% to almost 41% over the last week and a half. You can kind of see that relative weakness of the alt market with respect to Bitcoin. Someone asked, what's the Ethereum low? Yeah, I mean, I think the Ethereum low was like 880. I mean, we'd have to go all the way back. I mean, back in November, I guess. Are you just asking about what it was on November 9th? It looks like it was 1,070. But if you go all the way back over here to June, it went all the way down to 880. So for Ethereum to put in a new low, it would actually need to drop another 19% or so. So yes, Ethereum is holding up so far. It doesn't mean it's going to hold up forever. I've made that mistake in the past, like thinking that, well, just because something's been holding up for a while means it'll always. That's not always the case. So, and again, I mean, these markets have a way of like constantly making you second guess yourself, because I mean, at any given point, the entire market could pump 5% and then get everyone to sort of second guess what their thesis is, right? But at the end of the day, this whole year has just been a bear market. Yeah, let me put in a poll in the chat. We're gonna say, what is the Bitcoin bottom? And we'll say, we'll give a few different options. So yeah, what is the Bitcoin bottom is the poll. Less than 5K, 5 to 10K, 10 to 15, or greater than 15. I mean, if you think it's greater than 15, I would suppose that your argument is, typically it's just that you think the bottom is already in. If you assume it's just above 15, because I mean, even if it, like, if you say the bottom's in at 15.5 and it goes to 15.1 and that ends up being the bottom, then I mean, you're more or less right. I mean, if it goes, I mean, $400, who cares? But yeah, I'm curious what you guys think. I mean, I've run these polls on various places, and I think most people at this point, it seems like most people think the bottom is somewhere between 10 to 15K. What's interesting is every time I run these polls, people always say things like, well, the majority is always wrong. What's interesting is we've run these polls. I put out a poll like a month or two ago asking the audience, the YouTube audience, and I asked, is 17.5 the bottom? And the majority said no, right? The majority said no. And a lot of people said, well, if everyone thinks that means 17.5 is the bottom. Again, the herd can be right in the middle of trends. It's just like in 2021, like late 2020 and early 2021, the herd was right? Like the market kept going up. The herd's not always wrong. They're just wrong at the extremes, right? They're wrong at the extremes. When everyone, it's like, just because a majority of people think something doesn't mean that's everyone. When you have like maybe 90% of people thinking something, then yeah, you can maybe talk about it, but no. So this is the thing. Everyone says that's because of a black swan. This is not true. Listen. Calling this stuff a black swan is just it's an excuse. That's all it is. It's an excuse. We've said since the beginning of the year, the Fed is fighting inflation. They have to raise interest rates. When they raise interest rates, they're going to cut the access to cheap capital. When they cut the access to cheap capital, it's going to expose the zombie companies for exactly who they are. I mean, it's been happening all year. Look at all the companies this has happened to. FTX is not the first one. So to say that zombie companies get exposed in during a rate hiking cycle, and calling that a black swan, I don't think that's a fair statement. I mean, like a black swan has to be something that is sort of almost like inconceivable, right? We've already seen a ton of companies go under this year. FTX is not the first one, and it might not even be the last one. So, I mean, if you want to spend the whole bear market calling every catalyst for a new low a black swan, then so be it. Or you could just call it a bear market and say, you know what? It's a bear market. A lot of bad things are going to happen. A lot of good things are going to happen too, but no one's going to care about that, right? They're only going to care about the bad things. And then eventually we'll turn back around, and then no one will care about the bad things anymore. We only care about the good things. This is why I often say the news, people get so focused on the news, but in reality, in bear markets, there's plenty of good news. People just don't care about it. And in bull markets, there's plenty of bad news. People just don't care about that either. It's all about riding that momentum train for as long as you can. Yeah, bad companies fall in bear markets all the time, as someone says. So I don't think it's fair to just say that every time we put in a new low, it's because of an unforeseen black swan event. So keep that in mind. Yeah, so some altcoins have held pretty well. Um, that doesn't it doesn't mean they're always going to, but some have. I mean, Matic is still well off of its June low. For it to retest its June low, it would have to fall another 59%. I mean, there's no guarantee that actually is going to happen. But again, there's always some altcoins that hold up better than others. Yeah, make sure you guys give the video a thumbs up if you haven't already. We got like 600 likes and 6,000 people watching almost. That's abysmal. Let's get it to like 2,000 likes. Yeah, I know. I mean, so people want to talk about Litecoin. So yeah, Litecoin has shown a little bit of relative strength recently. You might still bid Litecoin's at $60. Yeah, it is. It has shown. Look, guys, and we have to be objective here as we can. It has shown some relative strength recently compared to some of the other altcoins and compared to Bitcoin. But remember, and I've said this before. I've said this many times. There's only one time in the cycle. Really, there's really one main time that Litecoin shows strength. And I don't know yet if the Litecoin bottom is in on its USD pair. I really don't. And honestly, over the long haul, I still think Litecoin's going to bleed against Bitcoin. But the only time that it really shows a lot of strength compared to a lot of the other market is, like 6 months or so before it's halving, it starts to show a little bit more strength. I think Litecoin's halving is in August of 2023. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll see where this bear market ends up, but that's the case. I mean, this happens every cycle. Every single cycle, Litecoin sees some type of a rally before it's halving. This would not be the first time. Probably won't be the last. I remember Bitcoin's halving is not till 2024. So again, we're next year should be a much better year for crypto. Look at this. There's an interesting chart. Look at Bitcoin monthly candles, right? Now look at the Heikin-Ashi candles, right? I mean, it's just been pure red since December. So this is often the case, though, right? I mean, like, this isn't that dissimilar from what we've seen in the past. 2023 we should see some green, right? Now, are we going to see green to the extent that we go put in new all-time highs? Yeah, probably not, right? It's probably not going to happen. I would say it's highly unlikely that Bitcoin goes anywhere close to new all-time highs in 2023. But what we can say is that the year after these year-long bear markets that tend to occur, the year after it, you tend to see some green, right? You saw some green over here. You saw some green over here, right? Like it's sort of just like a natural part of the cycle. So, I mean, I would argue that in 2023, these monthly Heikin-Ashi candles at some point should flip green, and we should see a little bit of relief that might finally not be just a bear market rally, right? Like sometime in 2023, it might actually be like an accumulation phase, right? Like where you just sort of go sideways and you're not constantly worried about putting in new lows every other Tuesday. Right now, we're still in that phase of like, oh, are we going to hold the bottom? Oh, no, we're not. All right, let's test it again. But again, once we get out into next year, I think that the bear case will weaken a good bit, especially the further into the year we go. And as we get closer and closer to, say, 2024, I think the case for the bulls will start to pick back up again. But again, I mean, a lot of these things just require a lot of patience. Let's see what comments we have. What are my thoughts on Link right now? So the Link Bitcoin pair has been showing some strength. There's no doubt about that. I think Link USD looks like, let me just pull it up, right? Let's look at the chart. So I've talked about this one before, right? So Link Bitcoin still kind of looks like, hopefully it's coming out of this despair phase in this textbook bubble chart. but as I've said before, right? Like Link USD is not as clear because it still remains under pressure because the entire asset class remains under pressure, right? So like we just have sort of like a triple top at 950. We've also hit this bottom range twice as well. So if we come back down to 530, the 530 level, that's the third time we'll have hit the bottom, just like we hit the top 3 times. So I think the USD valuation of Link is going to be very much dependent on just the extent to which this Bitcoin bear market goes, right? Like how long it lasts. I think Link's valuation against the US dollar will start to finally see some relief whenever the bear market is over and we're knee deep in the accumulation phase for Bitcoin. I think the Link Bitcoin valuation, honestly, nothing's a sure thing, right? But there is a case there is a compelling case to make that the Link Bitcoin bottom is behind us, right? Like I think you could make that case that Link Bitcoin's bottom at 2,000 satoshis could be its bottom. And I mean, maybe we come back down and retest it or something, but this is what happened last time, right? I mean, we sort of put in a bottom halfway through 2018, and then we just got back on this trend line and rode that trend line until we went into a bubble. So certainly a possibility when thinking about Chainlink. All right, so far it looks like Bitcoin has held its low at 15, right around 15.5 or so. Total is currently at 740 billion. So that's interesting because, total has put in a new low. So total is just the total crypto market cap. Total has put in a new low, unlike Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is not yet. It easily could, whereas total already has. And that makes some sense because a lot of the altcoin market is showing relative weakness. So a lot of the altcoins have already put in new lows, even though Bitcoin is not. And so total is actually already pushing to new lows. And the new low on total market is 729. We're currently sitting at 740, but the new low on it is 729. Guys, I try not to, please don't spam the chat, okay? I don't like blocking people, but we have to remove the spam. So don't just, if you're just gonna spam the same thing over and over, your general expectation is just gonna get blocked. It's okay to ask questions, but you don't need to ask the same thing like 10 times in a row. Yeah, we're sort of getting somewhat stagnant here. I can't say too much longer actually, because I'm gonna be making a video on another channel. Yeah, how do I enable slow mode? I don't know. Should have said I'm not going to edit that out when I sneezed. All right, yeah, Bitcoin's still at 15,720. It's a slow test here. What channel? So I'm doing a video on Altcoin Daily's channel. We're going to be recording. It's not going to be a live thing, but we're recording in like an hour. And then actually tomorrow I'm actually interviewing. Guess who? Guess who I'm interviewing tomorrow? We'll see if the chat can guess. Any guesses? Not Sailor. Not Elon Musk, no. No, it's not going to be Guy from Coin Bureau. I was actually on his channel today, and he was on my channel a few weeks ago. We'll bring him back on the channel again, sometime soon, but he's not the person I'm interviewing tomorrow. No, I still haven't seen it. That guy's is not Sailor. I mean, saying Sailor is not going to change the fact that I'm not interviewing him tomorrow. I'm not against interviewing him again. I'm just not. That's not who I'm interviewing tomorrow. All right, I'll just tell you. I'm interviewing Plan B tomorrow. So we had him on the channel. I don't know what, like a year ago or something. Um, and I'm gonna interview him again tomorrow. I don't know if the video will be live tomorrow. I should say that. I mean, the video might not be live until later in the week, but I'm at least interviewing him tomorrow. Apparently, someone said Plan B. Well, I didn't see all the comments. Man, I hate colds. I have 3 kids, all under the age of 6, so I'm gonna get sick a lot. All right, yeah, so far Bitcoin's holding the low. Still sitting just above 15.5. Right now we're almost back to 15.8. The Ethereum Bitcoin valuation has fallen some here. 0.0694. You guys know I've been pretty bearish on this valuation for basically the last half year. It still hasn't made any huge moves in either direction, but I still think it's pretty clear about where I think it's headed, I guess. I just don't know how long it's going to take to get there. Yeah, Bitcoin's back above 15.8. Is Ethereum back up at all, or is it still below 11? Yeah, it's still below 1100. It's almost back. All right, there it goes. It's back above 11. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people say that I should I should account for the deflationary aspect of Ethereum now. But I mean, listen, guys, as I've said before, right? Like in bear markets, these things just don't matter. I mean, like I'm not saying that stuff is a bad thing. I'm just saying that when you're in a risk-off scenario and you're just in a bear market, these things can go down even if fundamentally it's better than it was before if you take that stance. Uh, Getting bombarded by spam. Yeah, sorry, I'm gotta deal with all the spammers. All right, guys. I'm not gonna stay too much longer, but I just wanted to come on and kind of see what the price was gonna do here. Do you remember we do have we have launched tiers for Into the Cryptoverse? So if you want to sign up, we do have some lower priced options than we had before. So you can always check that out if you're interested at intothecryptoverse.com. Someone says Bitcoin already put in a new low against the euro. We can go take a look. You're right. Yeah, against the euro, Bitcoin already put a new low. It's at 15.4 on the euro pair. Remember, the euro has been struggling a bit. I mean, it's been struggling a lot this year, but the last few days it's been struggling once again, starting to come back down. Maybe it'll come back down for a retest of this line or something, and then that'll mark the bottom or something. I don't know, but maybe even a double bottom on it. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'm still not necessarily thinking that the dollar is done here. And I mean, recently it's actually moved back up to the upside. We still have the Fed, right? We still have higher rates coming, right? And there's still a lot of things that we still have to sort of consider. All right, guys. I think we'll wrap it up there. I'm not. I mean, I just wanted to see if we were going to be putting in a new low here, but I mean, as of now, it's still holding. We'll see how much longer it can. So currently we're at 15,762, and I got to get going because I'm going to be doing another video relatively soon. So thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already. I'll see you guys next time.